Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you.
Oh, Merry Christmas. You know, they could have let that music run for a while. I love that stuff. It's just, we are now in the holiday spirit. We've got our two guests that are behind the fuzzy mic with their headsets on. And Kevin over there has got a black bag, and is this like a Santa Claus thing?
I wasn't really sure. I was watching that when he was walking in, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be like kicking or anything. So so I'm going to ask Kevin, what's up with the bag?
Well, as you could probably well appreciate, it is the Christmas season. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And as like any good guy, I wrap in a hefty trash bag. I brought some gifts in here for Jerry and Al for Christmas. I hear you all the time. It's like you're talking on the radio about food.
We are.
Food. I go, man, these guys are hungry. I brought in some gourmet popcorn here.
Oh, yeah.
And this is cheddar, caramel, and the other one's got like a white chocolate drizzle going on it. Great gifts for each of you guys, and so this is compliments of Ben Fisher and I. So
awesome.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
So, you maybe hear some crunching during the breaks.
Yeah,
not so sure.
It's a good thing. We even had our engineer. He was like tipping his chair over going, what do they got in there? What do they got in there? So there's a big sign on this over there, and it says, don't feed the engineer. So just let them be in there. Well, Al, let's talk about our first guest. What do you want to say? This is you, because we're going to be talking about mortgages, and you've spent how many years in the industry?
I was in the business for 23 years, and what happened is that I'm 3 years out of it, and what has changed since that time is staggering. I basically know absolutely nothing. Everything has changed so much in the last 3 years that the people that are there, the people that are still out there doing this, I really take my hat off to them, because they survived this, and they're the ones that are going to be part of bringing our economy back in Michigan.
All right. Well, we have Ben Fisher, Cason Home Loan out of Warren, Michigan. How are you doing?
Very good. Good morning.
Yeah, and good morning to you. Good to see you. Thanks for getting up bright and early and braving the cold weather. And you want to talk a little bit about mortgages. I'm going to let Al start off with a couple of questions, because you probably want to relearn what you have forgotten or don't know.
Well, I've already been amazed. The time that we spent before the show, Ben had given me a lot of information and things that I had no idea about. So I think that there's probably a lot of people out there that think they know what's going on and they don't have a clue. And that's why I was really excited about having Ben in here, because he does know. He knows what's going on. And so I guess my first thing to Ben is going to be, why should somebody work with you? What is it that you bring to the table?
Well, what I can bring to the table is service. I'm very upfront and honest, and I like getting people the good information that helps them make the decisions that'll impact their home purchasing and home refinancing, how to save money and what they can expect from a transaction.
And when you said refinancing, so people still have the ability to refinance? I think a lot of people think that that's something that's impossible. Absolutely
not. I've been very busy all year long doing many different kinds of refinances. Main focus has been FHA refinances, because they don't require an appraisal. And I would say 90% of my clients, after I closed their loan, say they had no idea they qualified for a refinance that did not require an appraisal.
Well, I think a lot of people may not even be sure that they have an FHA mortgage. So that's something that they can contact you, and you can take a look at their paperwork, and you can identify whether or not what they have is an FHA mortgage, correct?
In a matter of minutes.
Okay.
I can tell them what they can do.
Is there something else that they could look at from their own paperwork that they can identify that quicker, or is it just better for them to get a hold of you?
It's better for them to get a hold of me. Sometimes it's very easy to identify, and sometimes it isn't as much. And I have to actually go into the government database to identify their loan.
Okay. What is a high mortgage rate? What would be a high mortgage rate?
Well, rates right now somewhere around 4.75, so we're anywhere above that, to be honest. Depending on your balance can all impact that, but I would say it's always good to give me a call. I'm not going to charge you any money. I'm not going to, do anything that's not going to benefit you. So call me, and I can help you in, future planning, current planning, and just give you an assessment.
All right. Now, if you're upside down, what do we got for people where the thing is flipped around? Can they still?
Absolutely. The government programs put in place last year were very beneficial. People in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans can refinance up to 125% without mortgage insurance. So very beneficial programs out there.
And what if it's just something where they just don't have any idea of what their house is worth? Because there's so much misconception out there as to what a house is truly valued at. What do they do?
Well, they can give me a call, and that's actually a great example of strategic alliances, because Kevin is a realtor. Kevin has access to the databases of what's sold, and between the two of us, we can actually identify, an idea of the property value.
So instead of somebody dropping money in it, and I guess one of the things that we talked about earlier was the fact that people are not paying you an application fee. I know that there's a lot of the lenders out there right now that you're paying money to them that if you get declined, you don't get that money back. That money's lost. And that was a big thing that was important for me to say, that you don't do that. That's not in your repertoire.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I charge no fees up front whatsoever. I have no problem talking to anyone, and I realize that, just in talking to people, I'm trying to help them, and there's actually good faith in that effort towards my future business.
Well, I get confused with all of the interest rates and all of the changes. How do you know what I'm going to save? I mean, if I said, look, this is where I'm at, and I called you, can you show me what's going to happen? Absolutely.
I'll show you your monthly savings, your yearly savings, and your annual savings.
And that doesn't cost me anything?
Absolutely not. Not one bit.
You have some examples of that?
Yeah, sure. For example, if someone's on, $150,000 loan and they're sitting at 6%, they can save approximately $100 a month, $1,100 a year, and over $36,000 over the life of the mortgage. So, $100 a month is, groceries once a week, possibly.
And that's without extending it?
Well, they will extend the term from, it'll be a new 30-year mortgage from that term.
Okay, but that's the monthly savings.
Absolutely.
Now, if they wanted to redo it and maybe keep the same term that they have now, you can do that too?
I could it'd be shortening their term. If they had a 30-year they took out 5 years ago, I could give them a 25-year term, a 20-year term, absolutely. I'm actually doing a ton of loans where people earn 30 years, at 6%, and then go down to a 15-year at 4%. Their payment may increase slightly, but they knock all that time off their mortgage.
Well, I think that there's a lot of people from my days of originating, there were a lot of people who had adjustables. They had 2-year, 3-year adjustables that because of credit issues or whatever, that was what the direction they went. And they may be in double digits now as far as mortgages go and not think they have a chance. And with the programs that you have available to you through FHA, there's a lot of people that you can help that never even thought they could be helped by someone.
Completely, because a lot of people obtain these higher rate FHA loans when their credit was not as good. They've paid that loan on time for 2, 3, 4 years, and that's given them the score now to be in the best situation of any borrower in the nation.
Okay. If I could chime in too, because I want to make it really so people can identify it in the listening audience, the people who are in this reverse equity situation, about exactly what we're talking about is somebody who bought a $200,000 home, and that's what their mortgage is, $200,000, and they know it's only worth $120 now. And that's where they don't need that appraisal to go in that FHA finance. So you can be that far upside down. And if you have an FHA mortgage, correct, Ben?
Absolutely.
We're going to refinance for it. So when you're upside down, it doesn't mean that you're stuck. That's what we're trying to get across, is that if you're upside down and you're in that FHA mortgage, Ben is the guy you want to contact to save that money every month, because right now every dollar counts every month.
Well, and I think also the other part of it is that there's people that are walking from their homes and they're destroying their credit. They're destroying everything they've built their whole lives. And I think that these are things that they have to. It's critical they look at these things before they make any kind of decision like that.
Ben, do you see yourself as kind of a counselor?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you?
Completely. As Al had mentioned in the beginning of the show, my job has evolved completely with this, the stricter credit guidelines, the stricter income guidelines, all these things. I find myself having to counsel borrowers to the situations they fit into.
All right, and where would they meet you?
They would meet me at my office. I work out of 13 in Van Dyke in Warren, Michigan.
All right, you got an address there?
8200 Old 13 Mile.
Oh, I know where that's at, right across from one of the halls that Brothers Righteous plays at quite a bit. So I got that part down. Phone number.
My phone number is 248-379-8912.
And email address?
Email address is bfisher, which is FISHER, at CASONHL.com. So bfisher at CASONHL.com.
And then my favorite piece of this is, what is your Facebook fan page?
Oh, we had to get to the Facebook.
Gotta have Facebook.
My fan page is Ben Fisher, Michigan Mortgage Lender.
Awesome. Now, another question, we went back on this a little earlier as we were talking about credit score. And I know that back in the day, the credit score requirements were different than they are today. And I think, again, a lot of people think they can't do it because of credit. When we were talking earlier, you had indicated that you have that ability to work with people so that if their scores are off a little bit, that you can help them, give them some insight on things that you can do. Can you talk about that a little bit more, please?
Yes. I get a ton of borrowers now. The majority of borrowers right now are first-time home buyers. And, oftentimes they've lived off cash for the last few years. They don't call me until they're about to shop for a home. And they need to call me a year before they shop for a home because oftentimes they have no credit on there. And I can help them with what they need to do to establish their credit, to open some accounts, to get credit going, to get them to the point they need to be. Again, all free. I'll pull your credit. I'll tell you, here's what you need to do, to get going in the right direction.
So it's really a balance between the refinances and the purchases. It's something that you have that ability to handle both ways, both transactions for any person.
Yes, we as a lender, we're a direct endorsed lender, which means we underwrite, we fund our own paper. We are a bank. I also have the ability to work as a broker, so I'm able to work with 10 different banks with different refinance programs. So I'm able to work across all areas of the spectrum to help the borrowers the best.
And I think that what's happened over the last couple of years, what I am aware is that with all the government intervention and all the regulations is that it's something where it's very specific. Everything's very disclosed. Everything is up front. There's no surprises on anything that's happening anymore.
Absolutely not. And I'm overly upfront. You'll find that if you work for me, with me, you will have your payment, your down payment, all that before you even offer on a property. You'll find that you will have your, how much cash you're getting out of a refinance, bringing to a refinance, what your payment is days before you close. I don't like any surprises. I like my borrowers to know exactly what's going on.
That's awesome. Well, I think that was some great information, and I think anybody out there that's thinking about buying or considering refinancing their home definitely needs to give Ben Fisher a call.
Well, we appreciate him being here. We're going to bring Kevin Higgins in on the other side of the break, and he's going to join this fray. We're going to end up learning a bunch more stuff and see if we can tie these two gentlemen together and helping you out. Networking Squared.